So I'm on High Street in Sheffield. I'm at what was once the old Coles Corner. It's not Coles Corner anymore, or people might still know it as Coles Corner, but it's a modern 1960s building. So the original John Coles store and his brother Thomas started in 1847. I've dug up some facts this time, and it started at 4 Fargate, and over the period of time it expanded and became a beautiful building. Now there's quite a history with Coles because it got taken over by Selfridges in 1927, and then later they pulled out of the UK during the war because Selfridge was an American, and when they pulled out of the UK it was then taken over by John Lewis in 1940. So the building that was known as Coles Corner was rebuilt in 1869, and it was really a prominent building, and you can actually search for Coles Corner on Google and you see the beautiful building it was. Now John Lewis actually moved the building into Barker's Pool in 1963. Just got a super tram coming past me, so you'll have to excuse me. So Coles moved, or John Lewis moved the Coles building into Barker's Pool, into a really modern building, which is closed during the second lockdown, which says it all. They actually sold the building in 1962 for £1 million, which is an awful lot of money, £1 million, because you could get 1,000 houses for £1 million back then. The sad thing is, it was actually knocked down in 1964, which to me is an absolute tragedy, because we're actually on High Street and look at the buildings along here. Imagine it was a continuation of those buildings. You've got one bank there, then you've got the Cutlers Hall next to it, and then you've got the old Midland Bank HSBC building that's now a Tesco. Cultural destruction. And then you've got the Stonehouse a little bit further up, where it was a Stonehouse pub. So you can imagine, if you look at that, that was like, the Coles building was like a point there, and then that same, as you look at the buildings along there, then you look at that building, it was like a point, but then that all went up in the same sort of format up Fargate. So it's been cultural destruction. I don't believe Fargate was heavily hit by the Germans in the Second World War. I mean, this building wasn't, the old Coles building. Now if you look across here, that's how Fargate would have looked, like those buildings there, and then it was all modernised. So like I said, I don't believe it was actually destroyed in the war. So Coles kept the name up to about 2002, and then John Lewis went through a rebranding and changed it into John Lewis Store, and then I think it was 2022, or it was the second lockdown. It never came out of the second lockdown. They never bothered to reopen it. At the moment, the building in Barker's Pool is going to become, I think, a football museum. Whether that ever gets off the ground, I don't know. But please explain to me, how do we go from all that lot up there to that just there? It's a bit of a pain, because I don't know when the super trams are coming past me, but like I said, how do we go from that beautiful Cutlers Hall building, Midland Bank further up, or now Tesco, to that in 1964? And it's quite amazing, because there's a picture of it being knocked down, and there's two guys sat on the actual top of the building, and they're just hammering away at the top of the building with picks. There's no scaffolding, no safety. Now I know there's our extreme now, I think health and safety's gone too much the other way, but what you saw back then, it was quite extraordinary. These two guys just sat on a dome, well, stood on a dome, a couple of picks knocking it down. Going a little bit back to the past, the actual John Cole died. I've got my notes here. I'm trying to find it. I think he died about 1900 anyway, roughly that time. Coles became a limited company, and then I think I think it was when Selfridge came along, the two brothers lost control of the company, but they did become managers within the store. But like I said, it kept that name all the way through. While it was Selfridge's, it kept Coles, and then it became John Lewis. It kept Cole up to 2002. So John Cole and his brother Thomas Cole should be proud of that fact. And I wish I could shop in the original type of John Cole's buildings. I don't like modernisation. I don't like all these national or international names being in Sheffield. They've just lowered the tone of the place. So that's just a quick video on Cole's Corner, because it was knocked down in 1964, the year of my birth. People went on about Cole's Corner. I ain't got a clue what it was till a couple of years ago and started digging, but really recommend, if you search on Google for Cole's Corner, you'll see what a beautiful, splendid building it was. And just tell me, how did Sheffield City Council get away with knocking it, or allowing it to be knocked down? To me, it should have been a listed building. So that's it, video over and out. So I'm on the other side of Cole's Corner. I thought I ought to do another angle on it, and then you will appreciate it. See the cathedral over there, and then Cole's Corner, and then you can actually see some of Fargate is still the original. At one bit it would have all been like that all the way along, where you could see that old building. So it's just another angle on Cole's building, just showing you how it would have come into that prominent, like a triangle point on this corner. And it must have been an absolutely fantastic store to actually shop in.